Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Susan Franklin, and I want to go through the mind-body awareness wellness cycle. Now this cycle comes right out of cell biology and all the research that they've been doing over the last 40 years. And you can check out the book Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton, or look at Joe Dispenza's books, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, or You Are the Placebo. Those are good if you really like the science part. So in this cycle, basically it's a mind-body-spirit cycle, or mind-body awareness cycle. And we start with the brain, which is connected with the body, of course, right? It's housed in our head, but the brain, the nervous system, actually innervates our entire body. Like every cell is connected to the central nervous system and our brain, our nerves. And our brain, of course, or our body rather, it's not just one big blob, but it's made of somewhere around 100 trillion cells. And in each cell, in the nucleus of each cell, is our DNA, which is a blueprint for us. We'll say more about that. So in this connection cycle, I mean, we have some sense that everything sort of affects everything else, right? So our cells and our DNA also affect our body, our health, including our mind, our awareness, our consciousness, our spirit. And when we think about making change or the roots of health, often we have this tendency to focus on like germs or bad luck, or we have bad genes and we're just fated to get cancer or have some terrible illness because it's been in our family. But what we know is that our thoughts and emotions, they're intertwined like this, but our thoughts and emotions are electrical and chemical information. Our thoughts are little electrical pulses that are going around our brain, as well as our emotions. So they're electricity and chemicals. But it's not limited to just our head, because every signal starts this whole cascade through our body, through our brain, into our endocrine system, into all of our systems. And every chemical and electrical signal sends messages to our brain, right down to the cellular level. And the soup of the cells, it's really the environment of the cell that determines what happens with our genes. So most people believe that our DNA is etched in stone, that our genes are etched in stone, and if you've got X gene, you're screwed. But that is simply not true. So our genes are not self-activating. They can't turn themselves on or off. And what cell biologists have found is that the environment of the cell, in which the DNA swims, where your genes are swimming around, that determines what your genes do. And I mean so we'll go on in a minute. So it's the environment that determines what your genes, what your DNA do. And that expression, the health of the cell, the environment of the cell, the expression of your genes determine your health or lack of your health, of the body and of your mind, your awareness, your consciousness. Okay, so if you have a predominance of negative thoughts, so you know that when you have really negative thoughts, it feels bad, right? So it's not just that it feels bad in your brain, you feel bad in your whole body. Think about what it feels like to be angry and the intensity of it and the tightness in all parts of your body, your face, your shoulders, your chest, your hands. Think about when you feel the pain of sadness or anxiety or fear, right? You can be sick to your stomach, you feel the weight, you feel the droopiness, you feel the lack of energy and the lack of joy. Those are all the chemical and electrical consequences of having sad thoughts, negative thoughts, angry thoughts. So when you have this predominance of negative thinking, then you are going to activate the chemicals associated with that make the body feel sad, angry, bad, etc. So that is not just a global, like an emotional cloud. This actually affects you down to a cellular level. And that mood actually creates the soup in which your DNA and your genes swim. So if your genes and DNA are swimming in a pool of toxic chemicals, depressed chemicals, sad chemicals, it reduces the effectiveness of your immune system. It causes those genes and DNA to get mixed up, to make mistakes, to mutate. And then you have rogue cells. And we call rogue cells cancer. They get out of control and they thrive in a toxic environment. And this cannot help if you've ever had some kind of serious health issue, or just think about when you have a cold, how awful you feel and how limited your mind feels during that time. Like, it's hard to focus, it's hard to concentrate, it's, you often will get in a funk, and it's kind of this negative reinforcing cycle. Okay, so what happens if you have a predominance of positive thoughts? If you practice mindfulness and appreciation and looking for beauty and looking for positive things in your life, that creates its own cascade of electrical and chemical messages. It tells the body, all the systems in the body, to produce different chemicals. It activates different processes. It actually completely changes the pool in your cell, the environment of your cell in which your cell lives and in which your DNA lives. And that positive, that healthy cell environment communicates with your DNA and genes in a completely different way. So it influences turning on the healthy genes, turning on the healing genes. It supports your immune system. It strengthens your immune system, which also strengthens your ability to be present, aware, tuned in to others, to the environment, to yourself. And then you have this feedback loop. And so you can see the place where you have the most enormous power is in your own mind with your thoughts. You can choose your thoughts, and it's very much like a muscle where the more you practice letting go of negativity and choosing positive thoughts, positive focus with your mind, focusing on appreciation, finding the positive aspects of whatever situation you're in and whatever people you are around, that begins this whole positive, healthful cascade that actually heals and grows and supports your body, your mind, your emotions, your spirit. And it's amazing, and I just can't overemphasize this important fact of how what you choose is the power of creating your life. So there you have my representation of the mind, body, awareness, wellness cycle. And if you have any questions, let me know.